Welcome back, Super Friends. Today we are going to be multiplying mixed numbers. This is the first time we've ever done this. It'll be a few steps that we repeat over and over again, and then we'll get our answers. So you'll need your math notebook or folder, pencil to write with, and don't forget that super brain of yours. Stay tuned for the video. All right, Super Friends, we are going to be multiplying mixed numbers. And what that means is just we're going to have mixed numbers together, and then we have to multiply like we've been multiplying fractions, then simplify to get our answer. So there's going to be 3 steps. First, we have to make those mixed numbers into improper fractions. Then our second step is to multiply the improper fractions straight across, like how we've been doing. And then lastly, we simplify our answer, like we've been doing as well. So let's get started on this first example. It says 4½ times 2 2/3. So again, let's do our first step. Step 1 says to make improper fractions. So making improper fractions means that I'm going to take the mixed number and multiply the denominator with the whole number, and then I'm going to add that to the numerator. Add that to the numerator, and that's going to end up being my new numerator. So 2 times 4 is 8. 8 plus 1 is 9. So I'm going to have 9 up top, and then my 2 stays the same. So the 2 just goes here. My denominator stays the same. So that's the first one. Again, we're multiplying. Now over here, I'm going to do it the opposite way so we can see. So now we have 2 2/3. And again, multiply, add, and I'm going from bottom to the top. So I have 3 times 2 equals 6. 6 plus 2 equals 8. So up top, I'm going to have 8. And again, my denominator does not change. So then I'll have 3 on the bottom. So now my new fractions are 9 halves times 8/3. So let's go to the second step. Second step just says multiply going straight across. So 9 halves times 8/3. Let's start with the bottom. What do I get on the bottom? 2 times 3 equals 6. And on top, I have 9 times 8 equals 72 because I know my facts. So since that's our answer that we have, it already looks very improper to me, and it looks like I can simplify and get an answer that's going to be smaller. So let's do our final step, which is step 3. I simplify my answer. So anytime that my numerator is bigger on top than my denominator is on the bottom, that means that I can divide. So I'm going to have my 72 inside and my 6 on the outside. Now, how many times does 6 go into 7? 1 time. If I multiply that, 1 times 6 equals 6. Subtract that from 7. That gives me 1. And then I bring down my next number, which is 2. Now I have, how many times does 6 go into 12? 6 goes into 12 twice. And 2 times 6 equals 12. I subtract that out from the 12 that I already had. And then my answer is 0 at the bottom. That means there's no remainder. So my final answer that I put here is 12. Simplified answer is 12. That equals 12. If I didn't want to divide like that, I could have done my 6 facts to see if it gave me 72, and I just would have skip counted by 6 until I got there, and I would have seen that it was the 12th multiple. But either way, this is how we do our first example. Let's do the second example. All right, the second example says estimate the product of 2/5 and 3 1/4. Then find the product. So I'm guessing that I'm going to just take a guess of what I think it would be, and then I would actually solve it. So if I'm looking at this, I see 3 wholes for my 3 1/4. That means that it's over 3, right? And then I have the 2/5. So I'm going to say that my answer, since there's not another whole number, my answer is going to be less than 3 wholes because we're taking a fraction out of that 3 wholes and the fraction that we had there. Remember in the past when I said anytime we do a fraction times a fraction, our answer is going to be smaller than what we started with. Now, since they both don't have a whole number in front of it, since they're both not mixed number, and we're multiplying by a fraction, that means it's going to be smaller than whatever mixed number I have. So I'm saying that it's going to be less than 3 wholes. So that's what I think our answer is. So estimate, let's put estimated, and we'll say less than 3. That's what we're going to think. So let's go ahead and get started with our steps. First step is to make improper fractions. So my 2/5 is already normal. It's just a fraction. We don't need that. Now our 3 1/4, I'll bring that over so that we can make it improper. So what is that going to equal for us? Remember, I'm multiplying the denominator times the whole number, and then I'm adding the numerator to it. So 4 times 3 equals 12. 12 plus 1 equals 13. So I have 13 on top, and then my denominator stays the same. So I'm bringing that 4 to the denominator over here. So now this is what I'm working with. 2/5 times 13 over 4. And now let's do our second step. Our second step is to multiply going straight across. So we have 2 times 13 over 5 times 4. All right, let's do the bottom. 5 times 4 equals 20. And then on top, 13 times 2. So I'm saying 13 doubled. I know 3 plus 3 is 6, and 1 plus 1 is 2. So it's going to be 26 over 20. Now, automatically, I can see, sorry, I went down too far. Automatically, I can tell that my step 3 is going to be super simple because I can see that it's going to be 26 divided by 20. How many 20s can I get out of 26? So let me rewrite it. 26 over 20. How many 20s can I get out of 26? Only one. I already know that. And then what would be left over once I take a 20 out of that 26? 6 would be left over. What's my denominator? Because it never changes. 20. So now our next step is just to simplify. I know the biggest thing here that's going to work for me is just a 2. I know 2 can divide easily out of both of these. If I didn't know that, I would just get my my factors here. So let me go ahead and do that so that we could see. And it would be 5 times 4. So that would be it for 20. And then if we did 6, if we did 6, it would be 1 times 6, and then 2 times 3. Obviously, the biggest number that we see here is 2. So dividing it out, remember that 1 whole stays there. We would have 3 on top, and then 20 divided by 2 is 10 on the bottom. So this would be our final answer. So it would be 1 3/10, which is what we said, right? We said that our answer was going to be less than 3 because we knew that we were taking a fraction out of it. So 1 whole and then a fraction is less than 3. So we were correct. Anytime that our answer is similar to what we estimated, that means that we are correct. All right, let's go on to the next one. All right, this is the last example that we'll do. It says solve, and that just means that we're finding the product. So let's go ahead with our steps. Step 1, we are going to make improper fractions. We already have that 5/6 being normal. Now, if we were doing our 4 2/3, making it into improper, that means that we're going to do 3 times 4, which equals 12, plus 2, which equals 14, and we have the 14 on top. Now our 3 will not change for the denominator. It will stay the same, so the 3 on the bottom. Now step 2, we're going to multiply across. 5 times 14 over 6 times 3. Again, I want to start on the bottom only because that's the easier thing to multiply. So I'm going to do that one first. So 6 times 3 is 18. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and do the top. 5 times 14. What is that going to give us? I will go ahead and do my area model right here so I can go ahead and get my correct answer. So that's going to be 50 and 20. If I add those together, it gives me 70. So I'm going to have 70 on top. Now this is another case where I see the 70 is bigger than the 18. So I'm going to go ahead and set up my house so I can divide. So I have 70 divided by 18. Don't forget to get your multiples. So 18, if I add another 18 to it, I get 36. So 36 here. If I add another 18 to that, I get 54. So 54, add one more 18. Let's see what we get. That's going to give me a 2, regroup 72. Oh, I already see we passed it, right? So how big can we get? How many 18s can we get out of 70? It looks like we can only get 3 18s out of 70. And that would give us 54. And if we subtract it out, borrow, that turns to a 6. This is a 10. That would be 6 here, and that'd be 16, remainder 16. So now this is telling us that our simplified fraction, like our mixed number that we're going to get for our answer, let me move the rest of this over so I have space. I simplified, oopsie, that's fun. I don't want to do that, I just want to move you. All right. So our simplified answer is going to be our whole number, which is the answer that we got up top. So that's a 3. So I bring that 3 over. Our whole number and then our fraction. Of course, 18 stays at the bottom because that was our denominator, but that remainder goes up top. So the 16 comes up top. And of course, we could even simplify this even more. I would say simplifying by 2 would work the best. Oopsie, what was I doing? If we simplify by 2, that would be the best situation for us here. So it will give us 3, and then 8 on top, and 9 on the bottom. And that's as simple as our answer is. So this time I had to divide, and then I had to simplify again to get the smaller answer. All right, use these notes to help you with your problems.